Look at your hands. Notice these complex, truly perfect tools formed by millions of years of evolution. Works of great past-century researchers, based on a material view of nature, taught us that labor made man. We are used to seeing ourselves as the crown of creation and the only full owners of this planet. For decades, school textbooks drew us a simple straight line from an ancient ape to Australopithecus, then to Homo erectus, and finally to us Homo sapiens. It was a grand march of progress where each new species became smarter and stronger than its ancestor, pushing backward forms into oblivion. But what if I tell you this neat picture is a grand illusion? That actually our world quite recently in geological terms looked like a crowded shared flat, where on the very same continents at once, totally different human species existed. If you seek to know our true origin story and love science puzzles, be sure to subscribe to our channel right now to uncover Earth past secrets with us. So imagine our planet about 100,000 years ago. This is a harsh, ruthless Pleistocene world. Nature dialectic means not just the fastest or strongest survive, but the one with the most plasticity, who adapts best to sharp and relentless changes in the environment. And several sentient species boiled at once in this huge pot of natural selection. Back then, we're just one branch on a thick evolutionary tree, and not the most numerous or promising one. Our numbers in those harsh times often fell to critical, very threatening levels. Many top experts think that about 74,000 years ago, after the huge Toba supervolcano eruption on Sumatra, a long volcanic winter had arrived. During this global cooling event, there were at most 10,000 of our direct ancestors left on Earth. We passed through the narrowest genetic bottleneck. We should not have existed. We could have vanished without a trace, dissolved in time, becoming just a fossil layer in geology like many others. And all around us, on vast Eurasian plains and isolated islands, real giants and dwarfs roamed. Beings with huge brow ridges and great physical strength, and beings with an orange-sized brain who still skillfully crafted complex stone tools. Why did blind evolution eventually place its winning bet exactly on us? To find an answer to this core question, we must take a fun trip to the most remote corners of the globe and meet our sentient brothers who are now forever wiped from the Earth. Our first stop is a lost tropical island in the ocean where harsh biology laws played a cruel but highly instructive joke on humankind. Are you ready to meet true dwarf humans who hunted elephants with spears in total isolation? Let us move to Southeast Asia, to Indonesia, to the island of Flores isolated by deep straits. This patch of land lies past the Wallace Line, an unseen biological border that large land mammals can hardly cross. In 2003, the science world was shocked by a find similar to a meteor striking the quiet swamp of classic anthropology. In the spacious limestone cave Liang Ba, an international research team during careful digs found remains of a creature that instantly broke all established academic paradigms. The height of these fully grown adults barely passed 1 meter. They weighed around 30 kilograms. Their brain volume was only 400 cubic centimeters. This is akin to the brain of a modern chimp or an ancient australopithecus. If you think modern science always has ready answers, please like this video, because now we will clearly see nature openly laughing at our neat theoretical designs. These amazing hominids were named Homo floresiensis, and the public instantly dubbed them hobbits. These tiny folks lived there for ages and vanished just 50,000 years ago. Flores Island became a real natural isolation lab for them. Following the strict rule of island dwarfism, large animal species with a limited food base will inevitably shrink over time. Local elephants known as stegodons shrank to the size of a plump cow during evolution. But small animals lacking pressure from huge predators became true giants instead. Our tiny relatives had to survive in a crazy world where giant rats the size of large dogs scurried along the forest floor, and deadly 3-meter Komodo dragons hid in thick bushes alongside huge marabou storks that were much taller than the hobbits. Imagine the daily reality of this small but brave human. He exits a cool cave into the muggy jungle, firmly gripping a basic but sharp stone tool. His brain is small, but cast studies show its structure was incredibly complex. The frontal lobes responsible for planning and assessing situations were well made. This allowed Flores people to hunt dwarf stegodons together, butcher bodies, and amazingly keep fire going. They were not our direct ancestors. Soviet and world science lean to the idea that they descend from Pithecanthropus or older hominids who somehow rode tree trunks after a huge tsunami to reach the island hundreds of thousands of years ago. They survived in this mad microworld until modern Homo sapiens invaded their lands. How exactly the Flores hobbit story ended is lost. Were they killed, wiped out by new diseases, or victims of a volcano eruption remains a topic of heated debate. But while this shrinking drama unfolded on warm southern islands, a totally different strange species hid far north in the harsh, freezing Asian mountains. A species that left no grand tombs or full fossil skeletons, but whose primeval blood still pulses in the veins of some of us today. We are going to Siberia. The grand Altai Mountains and famous Denisova cave greet us. For our local archaeology school, this place has long been a target of close, careful study. Works of great academics laid a solid base for materialistic learning of this region's old history. For many decades, Soviet and later Russian scientists armed with brushes and sieves dug here. Millimeter by millimeter, they removed dirt layers in this huge cave, bringing to light thousands of stone tools and animal bone parts. And in 2008, in the 11th layer of the cave, a find was made that at first naive glance seemed completely unremarkable. It was a tiny bone, a pinky phalanx of a female child of about 7 years. What kind of science revolution could such a tiny and completely minor fragment possibly create? But we live in the era of mighty molecular biology, and this dull bone hit the science circles like an exploding data bomb. Complex ancient DNA tests done in top global labs showed something quite impossible. It turned out the girl who owned this pinky tens of thousands of years ago was not a classic Neanderthal or a Homo sapiens. She belonged to a totally new, distinct and previously unknown species or subspecies of ancient humans. They were named Denisovans after the site. This is a true ghost species in our science. We still lack their skulls and do not possess their complete skeletons. We do not know for sure what their faces looked like, what color their skin was, or how strong their bodies were. And here advanced digital technologies come to the aid of modern human minds. If you want to recreate ancient images, make stunning realistic photos, cinematic videos, or unique audio for your art projects, you should check out the advanced service neuronovo.ru. These are the most potent modern neural networks, carefully gathered on one easy-to-use intuitive platform. They can create premium content by your requests and, crucially for our current reality, work totally without a VPN. Bring your boldest, grandest ideas to life along with the neuronovo.ru platform. Well, we continue our historical investigation and return to the genetic mysteries of the Denisovan human. For a long time, we only had a few molars of a gigantic and simply terrifying size. That very finger phalanx and a jaw fragment found much later high up in the mountains of the Tibetan Plateau. Please write right now in the comments below this video what you actually think. Is it fair and scientific to judge a whole old human species by just a few tiny bones and a decoded genetic code? Your detailed view is very important for our continuous discussion. Denisovans were apparently massive and incredibly hardy people, amazingly adapted to harsh survival in extreme climates among severe frosts and high mountains. And best of all, their rich gene legacy did not vanish cleanly into the abyss of millennia. Just as waters of two mighty rivers combine into one powerful stream, Denisovan people inevitably met and bred with our direct ancestors. Homo sapiens, when leaving the African continent, moved eastward relentlessly, mastering the vast spaces of Asia. Today, the genes of these mysterious Altai dwellers perform a vital function. They help modern Tibetans breathe thin air easily at a dizzying height of several thousand meters, without suffering from deadly mountain sickness at all, while the natives of Papua New Guinea and Australian Aborigines, Denisovan DNA may reach a solid 5% of their total genome. We did not simply remove them from history. We literally consumed and absorbed them. We took their best traits, the most useful evolutionary wins fixed by millennia of hard selection, and dissolved them in our biology. But Altai Denisovans and dwarf Flores hobbits are just the tip of a giant iceberg of that very alternative parallel humanity. It turns out tireless nature loved to run experiments with shapes. Hominid sizes and body types varied outside Indonesian woods or Siberia. What will happen to our science dogmas if we go right now to the Philippine Islands and descend into a deep, dark limestone cave where strange human remains were found quite recently? Fantastically mixing the primitive traits of ancient African australopithecus and modern human anatomy at the same time. We will meet another grand puzzle that made respected academics grab their heads and hastily rewrite university anthropology courses worldwide. Now we go to the tropical paradise of the Philippine archipelago onto Big Luzon Island. Right here, in the mystic twilight of the Calo limestone cave, the science public faced an insane anomaly that forced many top researchers to revise the core basis of human evolution theory. Early in the 21st century, scientists unearthed fossils that initially caused only utter confusion. and by 2019 this species got formal acclaim and the proud Latin name Homo luzonensis, or Luzon human. Fossil ages astounded us at 50 to 67,000 years. For geology and evolution scales, this was truly yesterday. In this period, our direct ancestors fully mastered Eurasian plains, made rock art and improved tools, while something totally unthinkable lived in the Luzon cave. The Luzon human anatomy was a fantastic and almost impossible mosaic from the viewpoint of classical biology. Their teeth were amazingly tiny, even smaller than in modern humans, pointing to a highly specific diet and a long process of evolution. But when experts armed with top-tier computed tomography methods looked at the foot and hand bones of these beings, they simply could not believe their own eyes. The finger bones were heavily bent. The exact same bent fingers were common in ancient Australopithecus living in African savannas millions of years ago, spending much of their lives on tree branches to escape fierce predators. How could such an archaic ancient build remain in people who lived just 50,000 years ago? Dialectical materialism teaches us that the environment dictates form. Clearly, the specific tropical forest conditions and island isolation forced evolution to take an unbelievable new twist, turning time back and returning the Luzon people the ability to climb trees nimbly. Much like the Indonesian hobbits, they were short and seemingly also became hostages to their highly isolated island home. If blind nature's immense creativity amazes you, make sure to subscribe to our channel and leave comments on what you think about these bizarre evolution paths. Let us leave the wet Asian jungles and transport to a completely different harsh reality. Ancient Europe awaits us, bound by ice and filled with giant beasts, where one of the most fearsome and successful species in Earth history was fully formed. A kind that can be rightly called the true crown of primeval power. We head to the Middle Pleistocene plains, roughly 500,000 years ago. In this harsh period, Earth climate was like a giant swing, where long ice ages alternated with short periods of global warming. In the very heart of Europe, near the German city Heidelberg, workers in a sand quarry made a massive historical discovery. They found a massive and incredibly heavy lower jaw without a chin bump, but with enormous, strong teeth. Thus, world science got to meet the Heidelberg human, Homo heidelbergensis. These were not shy gatherers or scavengers hiding from saber-toothed felines. These were the real owners of their home, apex predators standing at the very top of the food chain. Academic science severely undervalued their intellect for a very long time, until late 20th century Germany, in Skaaningen, amazing items were found that forever changed our views on early humans. In brown coal, at an old lake bottom lay fully preserved wooden spears around 300,000 years old. Some of them were over 2 meters long, but the most shocking part was not the amount but their flawless crafting quality. Their center of gravity was shifted to the front third, just like modern sports, throwing spears used in the Olympic Games. Heidelberg folks possessed a brilliant grasp of aerodynamics, geometry, and ballistics. Their brain size reached an epic 1,400 cubic centimeters, which closely mirrors modern human averages. They hunted not small game, but giant prehistoric horses, massive rhinos, and huge elephants. Such a hunt could not be accidental or chaotic. It required top-level social organization, clear plans, role division, and a surely advanced communication system. Labor, collective effort, and unity in the face of ruthless nature forged true lords of Europe out of these primeval giants. The Heidelberg human became that very mighty trunk from which two crucial branches would later split entirely. One group stayed in Europe and Asia, adapting to the coming unbearable chills of the grand freezing ice ages. Another part of this population, ending up in Africa amid severe lethal droughts, took a completely different path entirely. Now we will follow the northern branch destiny, those who became the strongest, the most resilient, and the most famous rival to our own human species. We dive into cave gloom, where those we name Neanderthals sat right next to blazing campfires. The Neanderthal is a classic Ice Age Europe dweller. If you met this human on the street today dressed in a modern suit, you would likely mistake him for a pro-heavyweight wrestler or a weightlifter. Their bodies were perfectly tuned to save heat in constant cold that pierced to the bone. Stocky, broad with barrel-shaped chests, sporting short and unbelievably massive, powerful, heavy limbs, they had monstrous physical strength, far exceeding the raw power of a modern Olympic champion. But the greatest wonder hid beneath their massive skulls with mighty brow ridges. For a long time, pop culture loved to portray Neanderthals as dumb, primitive half-apes running around with heavy wood clubs. However, modern paleoanthropology research totally shatters this highly stereotypical and vulgar ancient myth. Neanderthal brain size was around 1,500 cubic centimeters. Ponder this number. Their brain was on average larger than that of modern humans. They forged a complex Mousterian stone processing culture. They could make fire, craft skins into warm clothes, boil food, use medical herbs, and seemingly possessed early signs of symbolic thought and art. They buried their dead kin, sometimes covering bodies in red ochre or placing them onto a bed of wild flowers. But the most touching, deep proof of their true humanity came to us directly from the Shanidar cave located in modern Iraq territory. There they found the remains of an old Neanderthal known in science papers widely as Shanidar 1. This human lived for 40 or 50 years, a very extreme old age during the harsh, cold Stone Age. Studying his skeleton revealed that he was blind in one eye. His right arm below the elbow was gone, and he suffered from terribly heavy limb arthritis. He could neither hunt nor defend himself, nor bring any practical use to the tribe. In the wild, such a being would easily die in days, but this crippled old man lived with his bad wounds for many years. This undeniably proves his tribe cared for him, fed him, kept him safe, and likely highly valued him for his vast life experience. They had empathy, they held truly genuine compassion. Neanderthals peaked evolution in their zone, being perfect survival machines in the Pleistocene snows. They totally ruled Eurasia for hundreds of thousands of years. About 45,000 years ago, foes crashed into their lands. These were tall, graceful, totally lacking such huge brute power, but highly agile dark aliens leaving Africa. We were Homo sapiens. This meeting was truly fatal for the Ice Age owners. So why, having smaller brains and yielding to Neanderthal power, did our kind win this cruel race, while all other human branches sank into deep oblivion forever? Scientific debates still rage on this topic, as some researchers think we just wiped out our rivals in bloody, brutal wars for limited food and resources. But a materialist look at our history implies that the real causes lie way much deeper. Our primary weapon was hidden not in the raw power of muscles, but in society. Homo sapiens had an extremely unique talent to keep solid ties across huge distances, while Neanderthals lived in very small, totally closed and highly isolated groups. Rarely leaving their valley, our ancient ancestors forged vast trade nets, swapping rare items, tool technologies, and most importantly, ideas. if a Cro-Magnon tribe faced major food shortages or a natural disaster, friendly neighbors could come to aid them. Neanderthals in similar trouble were frankly doomed to fade away. Also, we clearly possessed a far more complex articulated language, allowing us to pass on abstract concepts and carefully plan our shared tribal actions in fine detail. Do not forget such a key point as taming the wolf. Dogs became our loyal pals, hunt helpers and live alarms, giving us a massive edge over the grim dangers of a dark forest. We bred way faster, we adapted much quicker, and we sucked huge resources from the natural area with deeply scary efficiency. Ultimately, Neanderthals, Denisovans, dwarfs of Flores and Luzon just failed the rivalry amid changing climate and pressure from us. History denies plain answers. We did not ruin them wholly. Ancient DNA sequencing proved that at the dawn of their tale, Homo sapiens actively bred with Neanderthals and Denisovans. Today, every single person of non-African origin carries from 1 to 3% of Neanderthal genes inside their cells. These genes alter our immune traits, skin tone, ability to brave cold weather, and even our tendency for specific illnesses. We are a live monument to the gone. We absorbed shards of vanished humanity, becoming a complex hybrid result of millions of years of ruthless, harsh natural selection. We stood atop the pedestal fully alone, but inside every one of us lives the legacy of a whole Pleistocene shared flat. Realizing this totally changes how we view our place within this extremely delicate world, and the immense duty we bear for our planet's future as the very last living sentient species. If you like this view on history and want to keep solving old secrets, like, subscribe to our channel, and share thoughts in comments, for true facts are born only in group debate. We invite you to a new expedition with us. Siteatlant.gg. All visual film elements, cool photos, illustrations, and rapid video clips, and my voice made via artificial intelligence directly on the neuronovo.ru platform. If you want to recreate old forms and realize visual ideas, we will be glad to see you visiting us. Farewell to you. Goodbye.